Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a wash out of Annie Sloan chalk paint. And what a wash is the paint mixed with water to give it a semi-translucent look, but it just gives it a little more dimension than the flat color of the Annie Sloan chalk paint. And I'll show you the other side here in the sunlight. And I did the top with graphite, and that I did with a sample pot, which these are $12, and I still have some left, and I put 3 coats on the top here. The body I did with cocoa and French linen, and that's the other size that she sells. It's $38. And how you make that is, for my particular one, I did country gray and old white, and I did 2 parts paint and 1 part water. So I did a half tablespoon of each paint and then a half tablespoon of water. And what it gave me was just this watery paint mixture. And this is a little bit thicker than a lot of people like it. Some do 1 part water, 1 part paint. But for the look and the coverage I'm going for, I wanted it to be a little thicker. The other thing we'll be using is just a sponge and a cup of water and a rag as well. And I just use these paintbrushes that are from like Lowe's or Home Depot, and they're $1.50. I think they're called chip brushes. So I'll paint a few areas at a time, but not the whole piece, because Annie Sloan chalk, or any chalk paint, dries quickly. Which is a good and a bad thing. So I'll just do that little area and then wipe it. And my rag is a little bit damp, but you can use a dry rag too. As you can see, that drastically changed the color, and that's not how it's going to end up looking. I'm going to blend it with this wet sponge. And it can be dripping wet, because, there we go. And you can just see it start to blend really nicely. And because I've used this sponge for the whole rest of the piece, it already has some paint loaded on it, so I might as well just paint the whole rest of the side with this rather than going back with the brush, but we'll see, maybe I'll need to. This is kind of a play it by ear technique. And also you'll see while you're doing this, your final swipes should be all straight, because that's the way it's going to dry, is how you wipe. Since it's wet and we're scrubbing, you're going to see a natural distressing that happens, especially on detail. Like right in here, this just rubbed off with my sponge, and that's especially true with the green side of the sponge. So I'm liking the way it's looking a lot. I'll probably go over it again just to make it a little more interesting, and to blend some areas down here that are whiter than this. I'm, however, not worried about like painting neatly. If I get a smudge up here, that's just fine, because once I start to wipe it with the wet sponge, it's going to blend in really nicely. So I just keep doing that process, painting, wiping, using the sponge over and over until I like the way it looks and I feel like it's even. Hope you learned a lot, and thanks for watching.